And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Dilbert creator Scott Adams getting into some hot water due to comments he made about black people and the recent Rasmussen poll that I put on the screen right now so you get the full context straight from the beginning. Oh yeah, you see what it says. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? Quote, "It's okay to be white," unquote. And you can see the respondents. They have everybody, white, black, other. Now, you can see the white. Most everybody says it's okay, although some don't think it's okay. If you add the white column right here, which is the not sure, the disagree somewhat, and disagree strongly, that's what? I think that's 2% right here, 7% right there. So you're talking about 20% of whites, 1 out of every 5, according to what Scott Adams would say, do not think it's okay to be white. 1 out of every 5 whites don't think it's okay to be white, according to what Scott Adams says. Now, once you get to the black, you have 21% who disagree or who are not sure, 8% who disagree somewhat, and 18% who disagree strongly. So added together, you get 47%. So he says 47% of blacks do not like whites. So if you're white, get the F away from blacks. Now, this is horrendous because, first of all, there were only 1,000 people surveyed in this list here. And out of that 1,000, I think 160 or so were black. So that's not a very good pool. Also, he's missing the context about this phrase, "it's okay to be white." Now, just saying it's okay to be white, I agree with that. Yes, it's okay to be white. But the phrase itself is loaded because let's go here. Remember this from a few years ago, back in 2017, 2018, 2019, when you had BLM, Black Lives Matter, at an all-time high? You had these random posters popping up on college campuses. It said, "It's okay to be white." Now, immediately they were seen as white supremacists, racist, hateful, a counteraction to Black Lives Matter, all this and that and the third. You can see the headline right here. White supremacist, "It's okay to be white" sticker found in dining hall. So if you're a black person or a white person, or quite frankly, other, because you see the other is like about the same as the black, but for some reason the topic was about blacks. But anyway, I digress. You can see people probably remember that and they're thinking about that when they hear the term "it's okay to be white." So there's context there. I think that's missing from what Scott Adams said. And before I go any further, let's hear what he said so you know exactly what's going on and you get full context from him. This is about an hour-long podcast. I'll link to that in the description box if you want to hear it in full without my commentary. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Well, Rasmussen poll had a provocative little poll today. They said, do you agree or disagree with the statement, "it's okay to be white"? That was an actual question. Rasmussen asked, white and black voters, and probably others, do you disagree or agree with the statement, "it's okay to be white"? 26% of blacks said no. It's not okay to be white. 21% weren't sure. Add them together, that is 47% of black respondents were not willing to say it's okay to be white. That's like a real poll. This just happened. Did you have any idea? Would you have imagined that could have happened? So I realized, as you know, I've been identifying as black for a while, years now.
Now, before he continues here, I already explained what he's talking about here. He did not mention the context behind the phrase, that it had already been around for many years, that it is seen as an affront to Black Lives Matter. Now, whether it is or not is irrelevant because that's the perception. That's the context behind it. It's a loaded question to many people. So when they hear that, they're going to think something negatively, not because they hate white people necessarily. I mean, you may have some blacks that hate whites and they're going to say, all this and that. They may say that, but there's actual context behind the phrase. Just like if somebody was to say, hey, ABL, do you think Black Lives Matter? Matter of fact, I'm gonna get right back to him in a minute, but I have myself from 3 years ago expressing my opinion about Black Lives Matter in the way that makes sense. So here's me on Jubilee, and they ask questions. I support the Black Lives Matter movement, and you come forward if you agree, or you stay back if you don't agree. Now, if I come forward, there's going to be negative reaction, or you support the riots. If I don't come forward, people are going to say you hate black people. So I had to just give a nuanced answer to this question, although it's very targeted to the movement only. I got to give the full answer, because if I don't, people are going to assume whatever they're going to assume. And I don't want to have any room for assumptions. I'm going to give you the actual concrete answer.
I support the Black Lives Matter movement.
So you see, I don't come forward because I don't support the movement. But when I get my opportunity to talk, I'm going to express how I feel. I agree with the fact that Black lives do matter. I think we all agree on that. That's something that nobody's going to deny. But it's the tactics. I don't like the tactics. I mean, I saw it in 2015, the Freddie Gray situation, also with Michael Brown and Ferguson, Missouri. You burning neighborhoods down, you're tearing things apart. See, that's what I'm talking about. You give a full answer. The question was about something specific, but I got to give you the full answer so you know exactly where I stand. So there's no room for anybody to say, oh, you think that way, you think that way. So when you're being asked a question on the poll about is it okay to be white, you probably want to give the full answer. Say, hey, you know what? I don't support that phrase because I think it's against Black Lives Matter. And the person might support Black Lives Matter, but they may not hate white people. You see what I mean? That's really what that is. Let's go back to Scott here, though.
Now, because I like to be on the winning team, and I like to help. And I always thought, well, if you help the black community, that's sort of the biggest lever. You can find the biggest benefit. So I thought, well, that's the hardest thing and the biggest benefit. So I'd like to focus a lot of my life resources in helping black Americans. So much so that I started identifying as black to just be on the team I was helping.
Is he trolling or being serious? I don't know. Y'all let me know if you know about Scott Adams. Is he being for real or is he just talking? Like, what is going on here?
But it turns out that nearly half of that team doesn't think I'm okay to be white, which is, of course, why I identified as black, so I could be on the winning team for a while. But I have to say, this is the first political poll that ever changed my activities. I don't know that that's ever happened before. Normally you see a poll, you just look at it and you go, whatever. Oh, this is interesting what other people think. But as of today, I'm going to re-identify as white because I don't want to be a member of a hate group. I'd accidentally joined a hate group.
Okay, so basically, all right, so let's just say he's being serious about identifying as black, right? I don't know if he's trolling or not, but he's identifying as black. He wants to be on the winning team, but now he's going back to white because he don't even part of a hate group. So because of a poll that had 170 maybe black people in it, because of that poll, it wasn't even the majority. It was less than the majority that did not agree 100% with this statement. It's okay to be white. Because that's going on, you're going to apply that to all 40-something million black Americans and call everybody black part of a hate group. Now, do we have hateful people in the black community? Of course. Yes, we do. We all know that. We know how the crime and the violence is. But does that mean we're all that way? Does it mean that everybody's that way? I mean, come on.
If nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. Okay. That's a hate group.
So nearly half of all the blacks feel that way in the poll. So people in that poll are a hate group. Is that what we're going to say? If there was a poll that came out that said, do you agree with the Black Lives Matter movement, and the majority of whites say they don't, does that mean that the whites are in a hate group? Or does it mean that they don't agree with the Black Lives Matter movement as far as the things that they do on a national level, the riots and the carrying on, the destruction of property, the murderous stuff, the scamming stuff from Patrice Cullors, you know, big, large mansions, big, long money. Matter of fact, I have another poll for you guys. Hold on. So here's another poll. Pew Research Center, okay? Now, about 2/3 of Americans support Black Lives Matter, but views are deeply divided among partisan lines. Now, you have 31% of whites who say they strongly support BLM, and 30% that say they somewhat support. So does that mean the remaining 39% are a hate group? Is that what that means? Or does it mean they just don't like the movement? Same way with people that responded to the whole thing about it's okay to be white. Do they hate whites? Those that disagree with the statement or are not sure? Or does it mean that they don't like the statement because they think it's loaded the same way BLM as a phrase is loaded? Now, some of the whites in this group might just not like black people. Does that mean they all feel that way? It's unfair to make that assertion. All right, let's go back to Scott.
And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the f*** away. Wherever you have to go, just get away.
There we go. I don't need to play no more. Like I said, I'll link to this in the box. So nobody can say, oh, you didn't play the whole thing, ABL. We don't have that much time to listen to a whole hour podcast. I will link to it in the box. If you're on IG, go to the link in the bio, go to my website and visit the corresponding article. You can see this full 1 hour, almost long podcast for yourself in full and make your own mind up and don't have me poisoning the well for you. But I'll wrap it up here. As I close, I want to say this. I think from the beginning, Scott Adams, number one, was misinformed about the actual, he did not have the full context of the phrase, it's okay to be white. He didn't have that full context. As I said from the beginning, all the phrases by themselves without context are correct. It's right to say it's okay to be white. That's right, it's okay. It's right to say Black Lives Matter. That's a cool thing to say. It's right to say that all lives matter. But the phrases will mean different things to different people. I'm above that kind of conversation, but not everybody is. Some people are going to see the term as offensive because it's an affront against Black Lives Matter, not because they hate white people. Just like 1 out of every 5 whites, 20% of whites in the poll said the same thing. Now, do they hate themselves? Are they self-loathing? Possibly, sure. Or maybe they think that the phrase is racist because they remember when it first came up on college campuses and it was linked to white supremacist groups. And maybe, just maybe, they didn't want to be linked to a white supremacist group because they are not white supremacists. Again, I'm not saying that's what those things mean, but that's the perception. So you just got to get your facts right, man, and just understand what's going on before you make a statement like that. I think what he wanted to do here was express himself about how he feels about the black community and use the poll as a reason to do it. If you feel that way, then that's fine. Feel that way. Have your opinions. Stand on it. But don't try to lean on this weak poll as an excuse. That's soft to me. Say how you feel for real and let it be from your own heart rather than just saying, oh, well, this poll says this, so now I've changed my whole mind. This poll of 1,000 people, it changed my whole life. Makes no sense to me. You're just expressing how you feel. Keep it that way. Be honest. Don't be this halfway liar or full liar. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what Scott Adams said? Is he right, wrong, misinformation? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. The assertion that he was making about the poll was wrong from the beginning because he missed the context. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. Anything else, that's a whole different conversation. But what he was saying here about the poll and making that apply to Black America, it was just wrong. It was just wrong. Now, you can make a different argument and talk about some crime rates and things like that. Okay, let's get into it. But focus on things that are right. Have your facts right before you just make a statement like this. He's suffering right now. A lot of boycotts, they're canceling Dilbert. But it's like, hey, man, you got to know what you're doing when you're out there. When you're a public speaker, a public figure, and you say certain things that can kind of get you in trouble, you got to be able to stand on that. You got to be able to have facts. And you just talking like that, it could be a negative outcome. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.